Bausch & Lomb is a global leader in vision solutions, including contact lenses and so much more. The company is at the New York Stock Exchange to highlight new innovation in their product pipeline. Joining me now is their CEO, Brent Saunders. Brent, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you previously led Bausch & Lomb from 2010 to 2013. 10 years later in 2023, you returned. When you came back to the company, what needed to change?
Well, there are a few things that needed to change. First, we had to focus on our selling capabilities, our sales force, making sure we had the best people with the best technology and products and everything else. We focused on our supply chain and really had gotten hurt by COVID and the disruption in supply chains. So we really focused on creating a more reliable, high quality supply chain. And then most importantly, we focused on innovation. We really didn't have much in the cupboards. We recruited a lot of great talent into our R&D organization. And now 3 years later, we're really excited to see some of the output of some of the great work that team has done to create innovations in eye care.
And speaking of innovations, I understand that you are highlighting some new products that you're releasing. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so our goal was to not really focus on incremental innovations, but innovations that really elevated the standard of care for patients across all of our businesses. So in pharmaceuticals, we're looking at new medicines for the eye that treat disease in a more substantial way. That could be in dry eye, where we're looking at combination therapy for patients. It could be in glaucoma, where we're looking at neuroprotection in addition to controlling intraocular pressure, but really trying to preserve or enhance vision. Or it could be in an area that's complete white space, like ocular pain, where we're launching a new program to treat ocular pain where there is no treatment today. In contact lenses, there hasn't been a new material science innovation since 1999 when Bausch & Lomb introduced silicone hydrogel. So it's been a long drought of 26 years without new material science. We're announcing a new biomimetic material that really works in a homeostasis way around your eye to create better ocular surface health and great comfort and vision for patients. In surgical, great new intraocular lenses for cataracts, new lasers, new tools for surgeons, and then consumer, improving beloved products like Lumify or nutritional health for patients with AMD like PreserVision. So really great new products coming that are meaningful step changes for treating eye health.
What is the process internally for developing innovations like this?
Yeah, so we take a different approach for different types of innovations. So for example, in contact lenses, we have a lot of research capabilities, and so that's completely homegrown. On the pharmaceutical side, we go out and we collaborate and we buy early science and we develop the products through the regulatory framework or the clinical framework. So it's not a one size fits all. They're great ideas in this big ecosystem of innovation. Some will come from us, but a lot of them will come from outside, and let's work together to collaborate to bring the best outcomes for patients.
And I'm sure a lot of that internally has to do with your talent. And you've spoken in the past passionately about talent. How do you think that recruiting and maintaining talent within your company, affects, the products you come
Yes,
out with?
actually, you said it. I think talent is the most important part of the equation for a successful company. If you think about all the things we invest in, like R&D, the programs we just talked about, they don't have an unlimited return, right? The intellectual property goes away and we lose the product. Talent has unlimited compounding effect. And so it's the best investment we can make. And the best way to recruit great talent is great culture and opportunity. People want to work someplace where they can have an impact in whatever area they work. If you're a lawyer, you want to have an impact in the legal department. If you're a scientist, you want to create new medicines or new products that ultimately reach patients and make a difference. And so it's about creating that ownership culture, eliminating bureaucracy, and let people get on with doing their job and create impact.
And speaking of culture, how did you assess Bausch & Lomb's culture when you returned to the helm in 2023?
Yeah, so the culture was a little stale when I got there. The company had kind of been in neutral for the last 10 years. for a variety of different reasons. And so my goal was to try to reinvigorate the culture. We spent a lot of time talking about what was important around eliminating bureaucracy, creating an ownership culture, and this word grit that I like to use, this grittiness of perseverance and getting things done, and this endless pursuit for learning and getting better. And so we did that for a couple of years, and then 6 months ago or so, we started to survey colleagues what they wanted the culture to be. And we heard back a lot of the same themes that we were talking about. And so we just recently unveiled a new culture statement. Super simple, not corporate speak, that allows employees to really articulate it. More importantly is we're going to hold people accountable to it. So in 2026, it's not going to be just, is the culture this statement on the wall or on your mouse pad or whatever. It's going to be part of your performance assessment. So it's not only what you accomplished, but how you accomplished it to advance and support our culture.
What were some of those themes that you heard from employees?
Employees really wanted to be customer centric or patient centric. They wanted the sense of ownership in the company, to own their role, their responsibility, their ability to impact. And the word grit came up quite a bit. And so we've incorporated that all into the statement.
Do you think it's important for a CEO to listen to their employees?
Oh, absolutely. I think most importantly, you have to listen and interact and be out and about all the time. I travel the world. I go to manufacturing sites. I'm in our offices. I ride with sales reps. I'm out with, this weekend I was at the American Academy of Ophthalmology, spending time with customers. And so you really have to keep a pulse of what's happening all over the company. But it's also important to lead by example, right? And so if you want a culture, in the company, you as the CEO, you better live that every day, and actions speak louder than words. So you can't expect people to do something you're not willing to do 10 times more than they would.
And how have the operational and cultural changes that you've implemented translated into performance?
So the probably the first place we saw performance is in revenue growth. So for the last several quarters, we've been the fastest growing eye health company and versus our competitors, and growing faster than the market. And so that's always, I think, the first KPI you can look at to see if you're getting success. What we now need to do is improve our other financial metrics like margins and profitability. And that's really the goal of the next chapter of our company.
All right, Brent Saunders, CEO of Bausch and Lomb, thank you so much for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me.